Dean in California. How are you, Dean?
Hello. I prefer to consider myself to be the person on the mound instead of batting. I'm more of a fan of Koufax and Kershaw. But the reason why I called is I want to present an argument that the notion that someone deserves to go to hell is incoherent. And as for shorthand, then hell here refers to eternal conscious torment. The first part is some people try to justify hell based upon some sort of intuition. Go on.
Can you take a breath real quick? Because I'm confused.
Yeah.
So you're calling a bunch of atheists to tell them that you think it's contradictory to say that somebody deserves to go to hell.
Yes, I think it's large. Go on.
I'm confused as to why we would need to address it.
Yeah, the question is why it should be addressed is because the notion that people deserve to go to hell is fairly common within the world, and it'd probably be an interesting philosophical exercise to sort of explore alternative
except that
distribution of punishment and reward in the afterlife.
Except that Dave and I don't think anybody's going to hell. We don't think threats of hell are real. So seems like the people you need to take this up with are Christians.
Yeah, you'd be preaching to the choir here. We don't subscribe to an afterlife. Neither Matt nor I would subscribe to the idea that there's an afterlife of any sort, that there's some kind of eternal punishment, whether it's hell, fire, and brimstone, or separation from God, or eternal darkness. That's just nothing that's on our radar. We don't care. I mean, I don't know why. Like Matt, I'm confused. What's your point?
Yeah, you're kind of calling to argue a doctrinal view with people who don't accept any of the doctrine at all. And I'm wondering why you're calling us instead of like some Christian show to argue the doctrine.
Well, I mean, I just thought it would sort of be interesting. I mean, because many people in your show usually struggle with the notion of hell, and as a person who studied philosophy of religion, I think I could sort of make a clear argument of what a different conception of why the notion of hell is sort of incoherent, even if you accept traditional assumptions about God's grace, such as one argument, for instance, is that I would argue that in order for God to be sovereign, in order to get a positive state in the afterlife, to go to heaven or go to Jannah, it cannot be based upon your works. It has to be based upon God's determination, His will. But of course, if you argue that, for instance, if you argue that that no one deserves to go to heaven or whatever, you could also make a similar argument that no one deserves to go to hell too.
Yeah, I'm bored out of my skull, and I'll tell you why. I don't have any belief in a hell, but if you're going to try and argue, if, for example, anybody who accepts the Bible, they're going to say it doesn't matter what you think is incoherent because God said, "For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God," and the
Romans 3:23.
Yeah, and so this notion that man brought sin into the world and God's punishment is hell. That's something you need to take up with the people who have the doctrine, because we don't have any of that. And I find, this is like, you might as well be arguing whether or not predestination is reasonable, or whether or not substitutionary atonement is reasonable. I already reject all of them, so there's no reason for us to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay then. Well, unfortunately, this. Well,
hey, good luck, man. Maybe you'll find a theist. Go to a church and argue with them about it. But I'm going to move on to some other callers. But thanks, Dean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my!
It's like
right out of the gate. What the hell? Metaphorically speaking, what the hell?
It's also kind of I want to make the case that the threatening people with hell is incoherent. Well, first of all, it's not incoherent. So, I mean, just linguistically, it's a threat, but it's not like it doesn't make sense.
It's a threat to control people, and like you said, why didn't he tell it? And let's argue whether the rapture is post-trib or pre-trib. I mean, let's just talk about that. If we're going to, same thing. I mean, we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I went with the predestination and the substitutionary atonement, all this pre-trib, post-trib. I genuinely am bored out of my mind by arguing. It's like I'd rather argue Batman versus Superman, even though Superman will always win. But I'd rather have that argument because at least there's something potentially fun in there, and because I don't give a shit about DC. So
No, that's yeah. I'm glad you didn't take a lot of time with him. He made me nervous. He was talking so fast to begin with. I thought, Jesus, man, dial back the caffeine or something. Wow.
Yeah, that's another thing for all the callers. Take a breath. When we interrupt, it's for clarity. It's not to shut you down.